This week, we're in Japan to find the fascinating, the ferocious, and the famous, if fictional.
It's amazing to think that next year this place will play host to the greatest show on earth.
By the time 2020 rolls around, it'll have been 56 years since Japan last hosted the Olympic Games. Back in 1964, they used the event to signal the rebirth of the nation following the destruction of the Second World War. Then, the focus was Japan's economic and technological explosion.
Now, Japan once again wants to show the world that it's still leading the way in innovation.
But with the country's explosive growth spurt now in the past and an ageing population on the horizon, the story this time might not be so simple. It's playing heavily on its image as the land of the robots, but finds itself as just one of many countries researching all of the other big tech areas, including 5G, 8K broadcasting, and self-driving cars. And transport is the subject of this project by mobile operator NTT DoCoMo. It's trying to predict traffic congestion by tracking phone users' movements throughout the day. DoCoMo knows the age, demographics and home address of each of its 76 million subscribers, and also knows pretty accurately where their phones are at any time. It's used an artificial intelligence to watch how and where they travel throughout the day, and also how and when they return home at night. It can now predict where traffic congestion will occur in the evening based on where everyone is during the day. And it's hoped that the AI may also be able to cope with the different traffic flows that will be associated with the Olympics.
The system we have developed can track the user population in real time. Increased social activity occurs because people move from one place to another. Based on this concept, we are developing some new services using this data. For example, AI taxis.
Now, with so many visitors flooding into Japan, safety is paramount, and for the first time, the Olympics will be using facial recognition to ensure speedy identification. Paul Carter has been to find out more.
At next year's Olympic and Paralympic Games, Tokyo is expecting millions of spectators to pack into the city for its festivals of sports. Among that number will be over 300,000 accredited people, including athletes, volunteers, media and other staff, all needing access to restricted areas. Developed by Japanese firm NEC and based on their AI engine called NeoFace, they claim the system is 99% accurate and almost immediate. But how well does it work in practice? I've come for a demo to find out.
Now, in order for a facial recognition system to work, it needs a record of your face. So unfortunately for this system, it's now going to have to get a record of this ugly mug.
The system recognises your eyes, face, size of your face and other features using hundreds and hundreds of points, and then matches that with the photos that are registered on the cards.
Now that the system has a record of my face, all I need is this card. We'll see if it works. Good to go.
But you can't talk facial recognition without concerns about privacy. I asked the spokesman for the organisers what they'll do with all those faces.
The personal data collected through the accreditation application process will be securely guarded, and will be destroyed in the most proper way once the game is over.
Now, when anyone tells you things are going to be more efficient, and in this case, near instantaneous, I'm always a little bit suspicious. But I have to say, the thing that's most impressive about this system is that in the dozen or so times I've tried it, it's recognised me pretty much instantly every single time. And it's seen my face from a wide variety of angles, and it still seems to work. So I think in this case, those claims actually hold up. But of course, controlled demos are very different from real-world applications. The proof will ultimately be in the queuing.
That was Paul Carter, and someone else who's been having her face mapped recently is Kate Russell, who went in search of Japan's latest online craze.
Ibakira TV! Hi everyone, I'm Hiyori Ibara as Ibaraki Prefecture's virtual anchorwoman!
Welcome to a new age of virtual YouTubers. Animated characters driven by real people to entertain and inform. Hiyori works for a government department responsible for promoting tourism and business in the region of Ibaraki.
I introduce also some Ibaraki's appealing points.
Live streaming channels have become incredibly popular, but they usually feature people. Hiyori already has 96,000 subscribers, and it seems Japan has really taken to the phenomenon. Almost 2.5 million people subscribe to watch Kizuna Ai. Then there is the slightly disturbing case of a horse called Bacharu. VTubers come to life in a motion capture suit, just like the ones they use in Hollywood. I'm at Spice Studios in the back streets of Tokyo, and they have kindly agreed to give me the full VTuber treatment.
All of these cameras around here are going to understand where my body is in the 3D space that we're in, and that will translate to the avatar moving. And then this camera here is going to capture my facial expressions and translate that to the avatar as well. So my transformation to Natsu is about to take place. There I am. Hello, my name is Natsu.
But the beauty of this system is that you can be any character you want, and the animation will mirror your movement in real time, allowing live performance and viewer interaction online.
Since the end of 2017, VTubers have become more and more popular. We decided to use this idea because it would be compatible with our young viewers.
Although VTubers are big in Japan, this London-based channel was among the very first.
Hello BBC Click, I'm Ami Yamato and I've been making YouTube videos since 2011.
Ami's vlogs are remarkably human. In fact, she seems completely unaware she's in animation.
This always happens. If I know I have to be up early, I can never sleep the night before.
But this CGI clip took 20 hours to produce. Using motion capture allows the modern-day VTuber to deliver a lot more content in the same amount of time.
Using what we already have, we can move them in real time. Activating the gloves is what's new about the system.
It's incredibly detailed, the movement. I mean, literally wiggling my little fingers. Do a little circle with my fingers. So what's next for Hiyori?
We would like more people to know about Ibaraki. We'd also like to put Hiyori on esports and promote her not only to the Japanese, but also the international audience.
The world is so crazy right now. Can you ever see a time when Hiyori might run for government herself?
I never thought of it, but that's interesting.
In a world of growing distrust in politicians and an increasingly pervasive celebrity culture, that idea might be more prescient than is comfortable. And on that cheerful note,
Bye-bye.
Hello and welcome to the Week in Tech. It was the week we celebrated 30 years of the World Wide Web, while social interactions took a hit as Facebook, Instagram and WhatsApp faced outages across the world. And the National Crime Agency revealed a new cartoon targeted at 4 to 7-year-olds to teach them about staying safe online. It was also the week we got a genderless voice assistant. A team of linguists, technologists and sound designers created Q.
it's aimed to help fight gender bias in smart assistants.
Hi, I'm Q, the world's first genderless voice assistant.
More details were revealed about Harry Potter Wizards Unite. The augmented reality game was created by Pokemon Go creator Niantic. Players will be tracing spells, searching for items known as foundables, and battling Dementors and Death Eaters. The Japanese space agency JAXA has announced plans to work with Toyota to develop a human-operated space rover to be launched in 2029. And finally, meet Metafly. It's an insect-inspired winged drone that's created quite a buzz. It can reach speeds of up to 11 miles per hour and fly for up to 8 minutes on a 12-minute charge. Lightweight and highly manoeuvrable, it can even be flown indoors.
When it comes to building a country, you'd be hard-pressed to find a more unpredictable bit of land than Japan. Perched atop 4 tectonic plates, Japan's islands are in the heart of the volcanic zone of the Pacific Ring of Fire. There are over 100 active volcanoes in Japan, and each year about 10% of the world's earthquake energy is focused around the country. Understanding nature in Japan can mean saving lives. But how do you predict the unpredictable?
I'm on my way to Oshima, about 8 hours by night boat out of Tokyo. Oshima's the start of a chain of islands with a violent history, a history born in fire. I'm here to meet Dr. Koyama and his team. Between them, they've spent decades studying Mount Mihara, the active volcano at the heart of the island. Oshima was near the epicenter of the infamous Great Kanto earthquake in 1923 that killed an estimated 140,000 people. Since then, Mount Mihara has fallen into a cycle of erupting every 30 years or so. That means another one's due any time now.
On the day of the eruption, hundreds of crows were perched on the stone pagoda, which was peculiar. I went to the crater late in the afternoon. There was a seismometer placed just above where we are heading to right now.
We're on our way now to the summit of Mount Mihara to check on the instruments that the researchers have here. And you can see in the background behind me some of the smoke coming out of the ground from the active volcano. And we're surrounded everywhere by this black basalt, this leftover lava, some from the 1986 eruption. That eruption started over here, went down this hill towards the town of 10,000 inhabitants. Fortunately, it didn't quite make it, but they did have to evacuate.
The team are visiting the mountain today to check and repair the sensor stations that they have dotted around the volcano.
Volcanic rock is just a small magnet. If you heat up magnet, magnetization vanishes. Then we can detect some change before eruption occurs.
The team's measurement stations can only track a relatively small area. To map more of the mountain, they need a bit more perspective. This unmanned helicopter can cover a much wider area and gather much more data, but it's not something that they can do every day. Over a third of people in Japan live within 100 kilometers of an active volcano, so having an early warning is invaluable. But knowing what to do if an eruption does happen is just as important. Back on the mainland, researchers are using computer simulations to predict where ash could fall in the event of a major eruption. They're using historic records and samples from the last eruption of Mount Fuji, over 300 years ago.
The day of the eruption, the blue skies were filled with volcanic ash. The closer you got to the volcano, the thicker it was. More than a metre of ashfall, according to historical documents. It was the Edo period, so there was no electricity and no heavy motorised traffic. People were living simple lives. Imagine if something of this scale happened in this day and age, full of electronic technology. Who knows what kind of damage it would lead to? It's a complete unknown for us.
Over in central Tokyo, the team's data is already starting to have a practical impact outside of the lab.
And this is where all that data ends up. This is the volcano and earthquake monitoring room at the Japan Meteorological Agency. These guys are here around the clock, ready to raise the alarm should anything unexpected happen.
The Japanese Meteorological Agency is tasked with raising the alarm in the event of earthquakes, tsunamis, and volcanic eruptions. And now new research is bringing that rapid response to other types of extreme weather as well. Japan's geography means that flash floods can happen in just minutes.
20,000 rivers are recorded and assessed in this country, and I think this is unheard of in any other countries. In Japan, landslides and flooding have taken many lives, even in recent years.
Advancements in radar, sensor accuracy and map data means that the system can raise the alert about dangerous flooding in near real time, every 10 minutes if they need it. Slowly but surely, researchers across Japan are understanding how these seemingly untamable natural events work. And each time they do, it makes the people of Japan a little safer.
One of the memories that will always stay with me is our visit to the Fukushima Daiichi nuclear power plant, which was devastated by the great 2011 tsunami. Exploring the wrecked reactor site showed just how difficult it is to build robots that can navigate wreckage and rubble as well as a human can. Today, I've come to Waseda University to meet a machine that was inspired by the Fukushima disaster. Warak 1 is a big beast, weighing more than 150 kilograms. Each of its limbs stretches to more than 1 metre in length. The need to move across uneven terrain has caused roboticists to investigate many kinds of designs. And although robots with wheels or with snake-like bodies can handle tricky terrain, they're not so good when you need to get hands-on.
After we reach the destination, the robot have to perform tasks like turning a valve or manipulation of switches or opening doors, something like this. And it requires a big power.
In order to actually manipulate things, Warak 1 would need additional hands or fingers of some kind. For now, the team are just investigating the best way to move, crawling low and slow over the rubble.
I noticed that it's not just using its 4 legs, it's also using its belly.
Yes, its body, yes.
So all the legs can come off of the ground at once. I don't think I've seen that before.
Yes, actually, this is a new locomotion style proposed by us. It's quite difficult even for human to walk on this place. But if a robot moves with a crawling motion, that would be very stable because its belly is almost on the ground. Yes, so it's so it has a very low center of mass.
Spikes on the belly help to stop it slipping on the rubble and also to help it grip onto corners as it hoists itself up and down. And although it's not strictly a self-balancing robot, it doesn't really matter if it takes a tumble because it's symmetrical. So it can still work back to front and upside down.
As you can see, when it's not in its weird spider-like form, it is actually quite human-shaped and human-sized, and there's a good reason for that because this is expected to work in environments where humans would also work. So it needs to fit in the same spaces and certainly weigh no more than a human so it doesn't disappear through the floor.
Japan is one of the few places where bots are starting to leave the lab and enter society more widely. Where other places might have reservations about robots taking jobs, Japan desperately wants this to happen.
Welcome.
In the run-up to the 2020 Olympics, Japan is looking for more ways than ever to have bots do the hard work. Here's Kate Russell.
These self-driving electric wheelchairs made by Panasonic have already been rolled out for testing at Tokyo's Haneda International Airport.
But what's new is my luggage buddy here. You can pop your suitcases in there and it's going to follow the wheelchair wherever it goes, slowing down and speeding up as necessary when it goes up and down slopey surfaces. Perfect for the airport.
If a roaming traveller walks in front of the chair, it'll stop, along with the luggage caddy. Although in a crowded airport, I can see wandering people getting in between the luggage and its chair, which might lead to some frustration. Panasonic hopes to have the chairs available in airports and public spaces across Japan in time for 2020. In the past, Japan hasn't had the greatest record for accessibility. With 40 million visitors expected to come for the Olympics and Paralympics, organisers have pledged to use this as an opportunity to fix these problems and make Tokyo a more inclusive and accessible city. Disabled passengers in need of assistance will be able to summon a wheelchair through an app. It'll then take them where they need to be, without stress or hassle, something I'm sure able-bodied travellers could appreciate after a long journey too.
Good boy. There's a good boy. For many visitors coming to the Olympics next year, the Japanese languages will be challenging, to say the least. Now, we've looked at several translation tools on Click before, but the one that Paul Carter's found looks like it's straight out of a comic book.
Perhaps the Olympics and Paralympics' greatest achievement is their ability to bring people from all over the world together. But as well as being a positive, it can also bring challenges, notably around language. One Japanese graduate student, supported by an accelerator alongside tech firm Panasonic, has created a special project to try and get the world talking. Fukidashi is the Japanese word for speech bubble. It's a system with a screen on each side linked via Bluetooth. Words spoken by a person on one side will be translated on the opposite screen and vice versa.
We investigate whether people use actually a phone to communicate with foreigners, but nobody uses that, because I think it is because phone is more like the way to ask some concrete specific issue, like where is the station, like that.
Now, the technology behind it isn't necessarily anything new. It uses Google's API to facilitate the translation. However, it's the application of that technology that's really interesting. Although only a prototype at this stage, it's hoped the system can be rolled out at points across the games. And beyond, the creator hopes to take the system much further.
At the next step, maybe people can have small devices like Fukidashi and use everywhere, anywhere, anytime. It would be great.
At present, the system can work between 4 languages: Japanese, English, Chinese and Korean, though there are plans to extend the language range much further. The prototype also currently requires access to a data signal to function. Amazingly clear. I almost want to take this with me while the rest of the time I'm in Japan and carry it around with me. Can I keep this one?
And that's it for our Olympic special from the Tokyo Olympic Stadium, which next year, of course, will be at the heart of the action. Don't forget, we live on Facebook and on Twitter at BBC Click. Thank you very much for watching, and we will see you soon.